Hello and welcome back for another weekly wrap up. So, the semester from the fall is finally over. I have a little more time now, and this week that I started filming this is the week of Christmas. So, I really don't know how many books I'm going to be able to read before I upload this. And I think I'm going to be uploading this on Christmas Day, because I think Christmas is on a Friday this year. So yeah, I mean, taking a big risk by uploading this on Christmas Day, which means probably nobody will be online, but you know, whatever. Let's get on with this. The first book I read for the week is Witches. This is an Image comic, and of course this is rated M for mature. It's a horror comic that is about witches, a different take on witches. They speculate that witches are like something that's evil living in the woods, and I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil it, but it's not the traditional witch that you're thinking. So I thought this was a really, really good story. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars. I love the fact that they used mixed media, which kind of gave it like a 1970s kind of horror feel to it for me for some reason. And it really reminded me of the Blair Witch Project. So it's kind of creepy, really mysterious at first. And there's really not too much I can say without, like, you know, spoiling too much. But it makes you think of, like, all those legends of witches, like, you know, the Hansel and Gretel with the gingerbread house, stuff like that, and how the witch wanted to eat the children. That's one of the things that legends like that kind of tie into this. It was so good, guys. I mean, you really do not know how good it is until you actually read it for yourself. I do know that quite a few people have been wanting to read this. And like showing the pictures is just not enough for you to really fully understand what's going on in this story. You really, really should check this one out if you're a fan of horror. Horror fans, definitely check this one out. After that, I read Superman Action Comics Super Doom. I don't remember which volume this is. It's volume 6. Well, anyways, a lot of people on Goodreads were for some reason saying not to read this because it's like a bunch of reprinted stories. But I have to admit, I had never read a single one of these stories. I do remember there was another Superman book that I had saw that he was exposed to the Doomsday thing. But they never explained where or how, what went on, and they never finished the story. This one, I guess, was another compilation called Super Doom or something like that, or Doomed, I think. Yeah, it was called Superman Doomed, I think. Everybody was suggesting that you read that one. Well, I have yet to see that come around anywhere. So if I do get a chance to read it, maybe I will read that. I guess it's the full-on story for this. But, you know, I thought this was okay. I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars. It does involve the Doomsday Superman, you know, like, mix. And I thought it was interesting. It was good, but it wasn't great, and it wasn't really that bad. Briefly, Supergirl is in here, and I guess she's a Red Lantern now. That's another series I need to catch up on, is the Red Lanterns. But it was okay, you know, it wasn't that bad, wasn't that great. I have The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Volume 1, Squirrel Power. I do have to admit, when I first saw Squirrel Girl, I thought she was a pretty cool new Avengers type character. She is a mutant who has a squirrel tail. She kind of has buck teeth, and she can talk to squirrels. So I thought she was I thought it was cool that the Avengers would have a mutant on their team. And I saw her in some early Avengers books, so I was kind of excited to hear that they had made her own series. But I was afraid it was going to be kind of cheesy because the cover is really cartoony looking. And upon reading it, I did discover that it is really cartoony. This seems to be more written for like children, even though it says it's rated T for teens. I just really could not get into this. They really made Squirrel Girl out to be like this kind of, like bimbo type character, and she's, cartoony. She's like a Bugs Bunny. And I just really didn't feel it. I really loved the character, but I just didn't love these books. I only rated this 2 out of 5 stars. I just really did not think it was that great. I mean, I think this is more appealing towards young female readers. It's just not anything that I would care to pick up and read again. After that, I read Rocket Raccoon Volume 1. It's called A Chasing Tale. This one is illustrated by Scotty Young, and I absolutely love Scotty Young's style. Really expressive, kind of, he's got his own unique style, and he's the guy who did the Wizard of Oz books for Marvel. But I will admit that this was better than the Rocket and Groot big, thick book that I read like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It was much better than that. This one starts out with a story where there is a Rocket Raccoon impersonator, and he's, setting him up, saying that he's a murderer and everything, so he kind of wants to get down to the heart of that. That was the best part of this volume. But then they had like another story where Groot told a story to a bunch of kids around a campfire. And of course, Groot doesn't talk. All he says is, "I am Groot." So it was mostly a story told in pictures. So it was kind of irritating that it was like 10 pages of nothing but just like, "I am Groot." But, with that being said, I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I do think that this series, it's a new series, I do think it has potential, but hopefully they can do some better stories to, like, really make this, like Guardians of the Galaxy. If they could make this like Guardians of the Galaxy, but with a comedic element, I think it would work out great. I did appreciate the fact that like Rocket Raccoon's kind of like a rogue, and the backstory to the impersonator was that his ex-girlfriends are looking to kill him. So I thought that was kind of neat. He's like kind of like a ladies' man, and he's got a lot of people who are mad at him. So it was fun for that reason. A lot of people are rating this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I didn't think it was that great just because of that one Groot story. I just it was kind of weak, and it was a good chunk of this book, so I only rated it 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, and this is where I'm going to wrap up this weekly wrap-up with my last book of the week, and that is Green Lantern, The Life Equation, and this is Volume 6. I do have to say I really enjoyed the New 52 Green Lantern books and the other Lantern books. I think they did a really good job where they act like they really have not met Orion and the New Gods. In this universe, the New 52, I guess they've never interacted with them before, which I thought was kind of strange. And the New Gods and New Genesis is on the other side of that wall. If you remember that wall from the first Lantern storyline, there's that wall, like if you touch it, you become a part of it. Well, the New Genesis is on the other side of that, which I thought was kind of weird. But I did think this was an enjoyable story, although it did have a very slow ending. The end of Volume 6 ended rather abruptly, and there was a shocker to the end of it, which I really don't want to say anything about. I don't want to spoil it for those who have not read it. But it was different, and they didn't really explain what was going on, why it ended the way it did. I did enjoy reading this, although it did seem to jump and kind of lurch through the stories. I didn't understand why it would jump from one scene and then jump to another. I'm hoping that those scenes are explained in other volumes Possibly there is a total compilation of the Life Equation storyline so that I can find out what exactly I missed. Because it was like they cut to scene and just totally were like different things. Like they didn't even explain how they got to that point. So I hate when they do that. But that is my weekly wrap up. If you've made it this far, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, wherever you are in the world. I'm going to upload this on Christmas Day, of course. So if you are not already a subscriber, if you please could hit the subscribe button down below. Thank you for watching. And until next time, later, guys.